EastEnders Shane Ritchie reveals the big famous actor he's enlisting to join soap. I'm trying to get him into it. Appearing on the One Show tonight. The Alfie Moon actor was quizzed about EastEnders' Best Soap win at the British Soap Awards last month. The cast was presented with the award by British acting legend David Jason, and it seems that Ritchie would love to welcome the Only Fool and Horses star to the square. Well, we got presented the award by David Jason, and now this is between us, Ritchie joked with fellow guest, Marvel star Jeremy Renner, and hosts Alex Jones and Angelica Bell. Davis Jason, big famous actor, say nothing. I'm trying to get him into EastEnders, Ritchie continued. He jokingly said to the camera, "Turn over, watch something else, you don't want to see this," before adding, "I'm trying to get him into it." When Bell asked him whether he had spoken to Jason about it, Ritchie said, "I don't know yet, I might take High out for a beer." Ahead of Jason's possible cameo on EastEnders, the cast is still buzzing from their award win, with Ritchie sharing that some stars celebrated a little too hard. "It's great, it's an ensemble piece, as you know. We've got 500 people working on the show. It's not just the actors, there's the crew, production, makeup, wardrobe, everyone. So it's a big celebration to get that accolade and be told that we're the best," he said. "The day after is great because we all get to work and there's a few hangovers."
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Trailer TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn.
EastEnders reveals why Kat cancels Alfie wedding in early iPlayer release. The big day goes very wrong. This week, the couple faced a major stumbling block in their relationship, when Kat mistakenly thought that Alfie had been looking at adult content online. The misunderstanding led to a frank conversation about intimacy, and Kat and Alfie soon got back on track. But they then realized that it was Tommy who had been viewing this content. In today's episode, the pair prepared for their fake wedding photo shoot and real wedding by the river, with plans to make their marriage official next week. Kat was distracted by the discovery about Tommy, so Alfie promised that he would have a serious chat with their son as soon as possible. The day started going wrong when Alfie gave Bert and Ernie a sugary breakfast, and the twins were later sick on Kat's shoes. Alfie was thrilled with how Harvey had cleaned up their new limo for the photos, but when he turned his back to have the chat with Tommy, which failed miserably, the limo was stolen as the key was left in the ignition. Alfie frantically brainstormed an alternative mode of transport, and Billy and Jean managed to get a double-decker bus to the square, but it promptly broke down. Meanwhile, with Kat in her wedding dress, she had a much more productive chat with Tommy where she made it clear that the pornography he was viewing was another way to abuse women. Tommy apologized to his mom for his violent behavior over the last year and said that she was the only person who had never let him down. But this left Kat with questions about Alfie. As Kat met Alfie in the square, with the whole community watching, he was forced to explain the transport nightmare and that they'd have to dash to the ceremony in Billy's van. This was the final straw for Kat, who called Alfie into the Vic and said she had grown tired of feeling disappointed by him. "I don't want to hurt you," she said, "but I'm scared. I'm sorry, Alfie, but I don't want to marry you." Is Kat and Alfie's wedding truly off?
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Trailer TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn.
EastEnders fans discover who'll be taking over the Vic and shock shake-up change could be on the cards. The iconic pub, which recently reopened following the devastating fire earlier this year, is currently owned by George and Elaine Knight alongside Linda Carter, with the latter pair serving as landladies. Change could be on the cards, however, as The Sun has reported that Kat Slater will attain sole ownership of the pub in the coming months, with the move coming after her marriage to Alfie Moon. EastEnders declined to comment when approached by Digital Spy. Kat, of course, has history with the Queen Vic, first working as a barmaid following her arrival in Walford in 2000. A decade later, she would become the licensee of the pub alongside then-husband Alfie, before leaving the role in 2012. While the story is yet to be confirmed, Kat's potential arc comes amid a tumultuous storyline with Alfie, which has seen the pair decide to get hitched for a third time following a fake wedding photo shoot. In typical soap fashion, there will be a twist, so consider this a warning for spoilers if you don't want to read any further. The wedding comes against the backdrop of the duo's difficult relationship with Tommy, who has been involved with the questionable Joel Marshall, following a misunderstanding involving Tommy. Kat calls off the wedding at the last minute, leaving Alfie devastated. "It's a complete nightmare for Alfie," said actor Shane Ritchie, who plays the character. "He's trying to juggle many plates and dropping more than a few, but then it wouldn't be a Walford wedding if it wasn't full of drama. Would it?" Alfie is completely devastated and angry. Everything is ready, and all she has to say is "I do," but now she's saying it's off. "This is Alfie's nightmare," he added, before expressing hope that the pair could get back together.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoiler TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn.
EastEnders lines up concerning new Phil storyline in advanced spoilers. His loved ones grow concerned. Phil has had an incredibly difficult year, as his mental health declined and he attempted to take his own life in February. With professional help and the support of his family and friends, he was able to get himself back on track in recent months. Phil is currently facing a new challenge, though, having taken on the role of caring for his lifelong friend Nigel, who has been diagnosed with young-onset dementia. But new spoilers released by the BBC have revealed that Phil's loved ones will soon grow concerned about him again, including his ex-wife, Kat. Later this month, Kat worries about the welfare of her former husband before Phil is then forced to face a difficult truth. What is he struggling with? And will he open up to those around him? Meanwhile, Yolande plans a party for partner Patrick, who himself dishes out some words of wisdom to someone else. But things are set to go wrong, and the evening of Patrick's party will bring big drama to the square. Just what will unfold on what is meant to be a night of celebration. Elsewhere, Nicola is on a mission but ends up getting a nasty shock, while Vicky makes a strange discovery and so starts to dig for more information. What do each of these Walford women find out? And are these things related? Monday, 23rd June, 7:30 p.m. Kat worries for Phil. Yolande is in party planning mode, and Jean can't let go of a grudge. Tuesday, 24th June, 7:30 p.m. Phil is forced to face a difficult truth. Patrick dishes out some words of wisdom, and Nicola is on a mission. Wednesday, 25th of June, 7:30 p.m. There's big drama on the night of Patrick's party. Vicky notices something strange, and Nicola gets a nasty shock. Thursday, 26th June, 7:30 p.m. Elaine faces a difficult day. Vicky digs for more information, and George bonds with an unlikely new friend.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoiler TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn.
EastEnders confirms new struggle for Linda as Phil comes to the rescue. Elaine causes chaos in the Vic, conscious of the warning signs. Phil raises his concerns that Linda is overworked and managing the bar alone, so he rolls up his sleeves and gets stuck in. With her addiction problems fragile, is Phil right to be worried about Linda's mental state? The last thing Phil wants is Linda to relapse, says our Walford insider. He's started to notice she's overwhelmed and struggling, and he offers to take the weight off her shoulders. With Elaine's marital woes causing friction in the Vic, Linda steps up to do the lion's share of the work. However, her long shifts don't go unnoticed by her biggest support in the square, Phil. Realizing Linda is having to do most of the work, he's concerned for her mental health. As the drinks start flowing at Elaine's party and the girls gather round, the night gets rowdy and raucous as the landlady exclaims that the Prosecco is on the house all night. However, when Phil and Nigel pop in for a pint, Linda's struggle doesn't go unnoticed. Linda's relief is palpable when Phil offers to help, explains our source. Straight away he can spot that it's all too much for her, running the bar and dealing with her messy mother. With the party in full swing, tipsy Elaine offers to book Priya a singles cruise using the business account, assuring her she can pay it back later. But when Linda overhears this transaction, she's horrified to see $5,000 leave the account. The next morning, Elaine wakes up with a brutal hangover and still won't take Linda's concerns seriously, trying to intervene. Phil takes Elaine aside and berates her for treating Linda so badly. But is she in the right frame of mind to take any notice? Elaine checks in with Linda after Phil's lecture. Our insider continues. But Linda doesn't want to be a burden to her heartbroken mum, so she downplays her feelings. Will Elaine realize she's not telling the truth? With both mother and daughter struggling, will they open up about their real feelings? Or will Linda battle on alone and risk relapsing?
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoiler TV. Xin chào các bạn.
9 huge EastEnders spoilers for next week from 16 to 19 June. What's coming up in Walford? When Alfie supports Jean, Jean reads the press coverage of Kat. Alfie and Harvey's wedding business and is furious that the article suggests her ex's new partner Kathy is Mrs. Monroe. Alfie tries to calm her down, but he has some other things on his mind and seems distracted by his phone. After trying and failing to speak to Harvey, Jean seeks revenge and starts sabotaging the limo business until Alfie manages to put a stop to her antics. He promises his support and vows to be there for Jean while she tries to move on from her traumatic breakup. But Alfie later gets a call from Stacy. What does she have to say? 2. Joel commits a shocking crime. Joel asks Tommy to film him on the tube home, and his friend agrees, unaware of what he intends to do. But Tommy is horrified when, in the video, Joel pretends to fall on fellow passenger Isla and touches her inappropriately. Isla is distressed by the incident and at the station. She reports Joel's assault. Vicky and Ross are blindsided when they find Joel being stopped by the police. 3. Phil worries about Linda. Phil is worried that his friend Linda isn't coping in the pub, fearing she's taking on too much and is being forced to do most of the work. His point is proved when Elaine throws a party in the Vic and Kim, Mo, Priya, Denise. Honey and Yolande join in the celebrations. Things quickly get messier and, as the drinks continue to flow, Elaine announces that Prosecco is on the house all night, leaving Linda unimpressed. Phil and Nigel arrive for a drink, and Phil notices that Linda is struggling to man the bar alone, so he ends up lending a hand. 4. Vicky takes action. At the station, Ross is desperate to find out what happened with Joel on the tube. Vicky checks on Isla's welfare and supports her choice to report Joel. She hopes this scare will put a stop to Joel's behavior, and she even gives Isla her number in case she ever needs anything. Ross feels hopeless when his chat with Joel doesn't go well, and he tells Vicky he's scared about what the future holds for his son. Vicky then takes matters into her own hands and meets up with Isla. She offers the girl money to drop her complaint, promising to make Joel understand the severity of the situation. What will Isla decide to do? 5. Kat is left alone. Following the incident on the tube, Kat grows increasingly concerned about Joel's influence on Tommy, but she is frustrated that she has no support from Alfie, who seems to be busy elsewhere. She's desperate to track him down so they can talk about their son, and eventually manages to do so. However, their conversation doesn't reassure Kat in the slightest, and she is left feeling that Alfie isn't being honest with her. What is he hiding? 6. Elaine makes a rash decision as her big night continues. Elaine offers to book delighted Priya on a singles cruise, explaining she can pay her back later. Linda is shocked to discover that $5,000 has left the business account as a result, but when she confronts her mum, her concerns are ignored. Will Elaine's irresponsible decisions spell trouble? 7. Alfie has big news. Kat tries once more to talk to Alfie about Tommy, but she gets a lot more than she bargained for. Alfie tells her he needs to make a sudden visit to Australia as his brother Spencer is in turmoil. As Alfie prepares for a trip down under, will Kat be able to cope with Tommy on her own? Tommy is threatened, still shaken by the week's events. Tommy tries to avoid Joel, but he doesn't manage to get away from Vicky, who corners him and warns him not to say anything about the incident on the tube. A frightening twist. She even threatens to implicate him in Isla's assault unless he keeps his mouth shut, now fearing for his own future. What will Tommy decide to do? 9. Linda hides her feelings. The next morning, hungover. Elaine refuses to talk to Linda, who is still horrified about her mum's random purchase in the pub. Phil realizes that Linda is finding it difficult to cope with the pressure. He scolds Elaine for the way he's treated Linda and makes her see sense. But when Elaine attempts to speak to her daughter, Linda downplays how overwhelmed she is. Will she be able to admit how she is really feeling?
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoiler TV. Xin chào các bạn.